In 2040, wealth no longer means what it once did. There are no billionaires, only networks. No salaries, only streams. And no ownership in the old sense, only access. Because in the mid-21st century, something extraordinary happened. The world stopped asking, how do we create wealth, and started asking, how do we distribute it? This is the story of universal basic capital, a world where every person is born an investor, and capitalism itself learns to share. It began with automation. By the late 2030s, artificial intelligence had replaced more than half of all global jobs. Factories ran on autonomous machines. Trucks drove themselves. Even journalists, lawyers, and designers had digital twins doing their work faster, cheaper, and without fatigue. Productivity soared, but inequality exploded. Governments tried everything. They taxed billionaires, created digital currencies, and launched universal basic income programs. But while UBI helped people survive, it didn't help them belong. It solved hunger, not purpose. It gave temporary relief, not ownership. Then a new idea emerged. What if, instead of giving people money, we gave them capital? Not welfare, wealth. Not donations, dividends. A stake in the systems that were replacing their jobs. In 2032, Singapore and Estonia launched the first universal basic capital experiments. Every citizen received fractional shares in national AI infrastructure, from robotics and data farms to renewable energy networks. As these systems worked, profits were distributed directly to the population. Every algorithm, every automated transaction contributed to public income. By 2036, half of Europe had adopted the model. By 2040, Universal Basic Capital, or UBC, became a global standard. Under this system, each person received a digital economic ID at birth. That ID connected to a blockchain-based national fund containing microshares of public technologies, AI servers, clean energy grids, quantum networks, and biotech patents. When these systems generated profit, dividends were automatically paid, not as charity, but as ownership returns. You didn't work for the system worked for you. The effect was revolutionary. The billionaire era quietly ended. No one owned 10 companies. Communities owned 10,000 microassets. Crowd capital replaced corporate monopoly. Wealth no longer pooled, it circulated. And for the first time in history, economic growth and equality rose together. Because the more automation expanded, the richer everyone became. AI managed production, logistics, and finance with near-perfect efficiency. Governments didn't collapse. They evolved into shareholders of progress. And humans, liberated from survival economics, began to invest in meaning, not just money. Work changed. It stopped being about survival and became about contribution. People pursued professions out of curiosity, not necessity. Artists, scientists, philosophers, and teachers, once struggling for relevance, now thrived in what economists call the meaning economy. Schools no longer trained children to fit into jobs. They prepared them to collaborate with intelligence, human and artificial. Creativity became currency. Wisdom became wealth. For the first time in centuries, progress was measured not by consumption, but by connection. Of course, this transformation wasn't easy. Legacy corporations fought redistribution. Old power structures resisted the loss of control, and critics called UBC digital socialism. But when faced with mass unemployment, economic stagnation, and growing unrest, the world realized something simple. Without shared ownership, progress becomes extinction. Universal basic capital wasn't charity, it was evolution. It turned capitalism from a pyramid into a network. By 2040, global poverty fell below 2%. People received quarterly AI dividends from the systems they co-owned. Cities ran on decentralized energy grids. Microeconomies flourished around purpose, creativity, and collective investment. And yet, the greatest change wasn't financial, it was psychological. For the first time, humanity saw itself not as separate nations or classes, but as co-owners of civilization itself. Children grew up knowing they owned a small share of the world's intelligence. And that single truth changed everything. Universal basic capital didn't destroy capitalism, it perfected it. It replaced greed with growth. It redefined wealth as something collective, not competitive. It made prosperity scalable and dignity universal. In 2040, Billionaires are no longer individuals, they are societies. The richest entity on Earth is humanity itself. And maybe, when we look back, we'll realize that the greatest innovation of the 21st century wasn't artificial intelligence, but the decision to share its rewards with everyone. This is Echelon Daily, where we explore the systems shaping our future and remind you that awareness is leverage.